My gospel screams of justice, my word stuck in the ground, to plant my seeds right in the evil ground I found. So I stand fast and ready when the wolf knocks at the door, with neither fear nor anger, all will be restored. Do right, feel no man.
Well, you're joining me here up on one of my syndicate waters in Reading, and we're at the end of June. We've passed the equinox and we've probably got what's looking likely to be record-breaking temperatures about to hit us. They're forecasting upwards towards 40 degrees. And to that end, I had to choose carefully the venue that I wanted to pick for doing this film. This one hit the mark perfectly. It is probably quintessentially the most romanticised view of a carp lake you could possibly ever imagine. It's the layout is something to behold. It's like a sort of mini rainbow, mini Burfield, just loads and loads of points and peninsulas and dot islands, little back bays and channels. It's swathed with great big beds of weed, little patches of lilies, as I say, these little scrubby dot islands, intimate little swims. It's a very, very intimate, shallow lake. And in these sort of temperatures, it was the best lake that I could think of that would offer us the best chance of a bite in these high summer conditions with maxed out temperatures. You know, the shallow water, the carp are never going to be too far away. The last thing I wanted to be doing was going to a lake and fishing with 20-foot deep depths and whatnot. So this was the choice, and it's absolutely perfect. I'm sat here now on a little bridge underneath some beautiful old ancient oak trees, silver birches, scrub willow. It's an old lake with some really old carp, gnarly old creatures, proper characters, no real monsters. That's not what it's all about. It's about the looks and the environment, and for me, that's what gives this place its magic. And hopefully over the course of a couple of days, despite the weather, hopefully going to show you a little bit of that magic. Well, that was a sweaty old barrow push from the car park, up and down these big old gravel points and whatnot, but we're here. So I'll put you in the picture. We had a good lap round the lake, full circumference, looking in all the nooks and crannies and whatnot, and I feel like I found the mother lode of carp, or the bulk of the stock for this lake. It's not a heavily stocked lake, so when you find a good number, it stands to reason that you're on the main bulk. And that today has proved true, because we've looked at every other option and we've only found one or two little single carp at the end of these little dot bays and whatnot. So I feel very happy with the choice of swim. It's not a swim that I've fished before. In fact, I've only really fished this lake less than a handful of one time, so not much at all. So I don't know this swim, but it's covering a lot of water, and it's got the wind blowing into this margin, which in this heat is a bonus, and it's probably part of the reason why the fish are here. Other than that, you've got a lot of shallow water out to the right by the look of things, a lot of weed in front, and a number of bars running off to the left to these little dot islands. So a huge amount of scope to get fishing on. I'm going to need to do a little bit of exploration and find some suitable spots. just the sheer amount of weed, snags, and the nature of the overgrown nature of this lake dictates the fact that I'm going to be fishing braid this trip. It looks pretty savage out here. I'll talk you through all the tactics and my ideas behind how I'm going to approach the fishing as we move forward in the session. But for now, I'm going to just maybe explore the swim with a lead, maybe do a bit of wading and work out where I'm going to position my hook baits. They're a lot more active and mobile than I thought they would be. A lot more. So, find some spots, give them a bit of bait, see what happens in the morning. They were here this morning, so that's as good as it gets for the first 12 hours anyway. Right, so obviously using braid on your fishing rods, you really can't get any more accurate and any more feedback to your rod than when using braid. It is the most, the most versatile system that I've ever used in terms of I can lead up with it, I can fish with it, I can fish with it in snags, in heavy weed. The bite indication is second to none. And it's all down to the fact that there's no stretch in it. It is literally a solid line straight out to your rig, and when that lead moves, you'll get an indication, and you're in direct contact with whatever has picked it up at the other end. So, if that fish weeds itself, you've got the best chance possible of extracting that fish from the weed. You can keep fish moving really easily with it, just because of that lack of stretch and that direct contact. So obviously what goes hand in hand in that is the fact that when you're leading up to find spots, as you would with a traditional marker float set up using braid, it transmits every single thing back to the reel seat, and I like to hold the rod blank as well with my other hand, and just feel all those sensations and vibrations through the blank. I mean, you're feeling that through carbon with the braid. So every little tap, knock, strand of weed, it's all amplified and sent back through that big, what I call like a big antenna, to your hand. So once you've learned to distinguish what you're feeling, whether it be plucking of Canadian weed, or the tap 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 of gravel, or the chinking of larger lumps of gravel, or the smooth pull of sand, the silky glide through clay, fine silt, claggy silt, whatever, you're building that repertoire of knowledge to be able to go to any lake and work out the substrates you're fishing over, find the holes in the weed, find the gravel bars, and really not just using braid on your marker setup like traditionally we have done, but using it through your main fishing setup is infinitely advantageous when it comes to a fishing situation. So given the opportunity, and some clubs and syndicates don't like braid or ban braid for various reasons beknown only to themselves, given the opportunity, I'll be using braid at all, every eventuality. I just find it, the accuracy, the ability to drop back on the exact same spots, the bite indication, as I already said, and the control over the fish, it's second to none, and it enables you to fish more efficiently than you can with any other product. So braid is always my #1 choice, given the chance. Right, so I'm gonna have a quick lead about here, and I've seen a couple of holes in the weed from up the tree, and I'm pretty sure that it's so shallow it's hard to get a drop, but I'm pretty sure if I just lift that off the bottom and whip it through, that should be pretty clean. One little strand, look. But yeah, tiny bit of silkweed. So realistically, I'm gonna have a few more chucks onto that spot out there, and that will definitely, with the little bit of silkweed and the fact that it is sketchy and it's a cast, I'll probably be fishing a hinge on that rod with a spray of boilies over the top. But we'll have a couple more casts around and we'll see if we get a few drops, but as I say, it's probably maximum of 3 foot out there, so it's pretty difficult. But if you catch it right, you can get it. Just about. But yeah, it's coming in clean, look. Straight up off the bottom. I'll imagine there'd be a tiny bit of silkweed, yeah, look. Yeah. Classic hinge or chod territory, that. Well, we're on the end of this lovely shaded little point here. This is where we've decided to set up. And as I said to you earlier, it's a swim that I've not fished before, so fortunately there's a lovely little alder tree right on the end of the point there with some handy little branches. So I've shinned up that tree, and as is always the way when you get a bit of a lofty perch, everything sort of becomes apparent and clear. And I could see that there was a nice bar running off the end of the point that we're sat on that links up to a little dot island over the other side there. Off the side of that bar there was a couple of fairly obvious spots that had been battered by the carp. You could see the weed had all been pulled away, and it looked really good actually, and it was perfect for being able to sort of wade out and lower rigs in. So the right hand side of the bar and the left hand side of the bar were earmarked for the right and middle rod. All I had to do was find a spot for my left hand rod. Unfortunately, after getting the waders on, that transpired that was a little bit too deep to be able to reach where I needed to go. So obviously I've had to have a lead up with that rod, and I managed to find a bit of a clearing out there in amongst some weed, just a tiny little bit of low-lying silkweed on there, a little bit of Canadian. So I've elected to fish a long hinge on that cast out rod, just catapulted some 16 millers around that one. And unbelievably, the swans were up the other end of the lake, and I thought I'd got away with it, but no, they've got good eyesight, and they've been over and paid me a visit already, which is a bit annoying, but that's just the way of life on shallow, clear pits. The bird life will find you and they will plague you, but you have to get over it. I think luckily they haven't picked my hook bait up, so I've left it in position, and all I'm going to do now is probably ping a few baits over it just as it gets dark, just to top that up. The two hand placed rigs, they've left alone. Again, I've gone in on bottom baits with those because they're nice hard sort of gravelly spots with a little bit of sand in there. So short rigs, bottom baits, and just put a few handfuls of bait over the top, a mix of 12mm fish meals, legacy, couple of 16s broken up, and a handful of tigers. So they're really, really accurate, super happy with those. Just sort of sunk the braid down through the weed as I made my way back along the bar. And then, yeah, the rods are positioned nice and slack. And yeah, the fish haven't gone far either. I mean, there's so much weed here. With all my activity and, you know, being out and about in the lake, they've just sort of pushed back and sat in the weed, maybe 20 yards, 30 yards, but they haven't really gone far, which is good, bodes well for the morning. But what I have done is I've I've gone to one of the swims that I have fished in the past, got a bit of knowledge about, and just put a bit of bait out there to give me almost like a plan B for the morning. So if these fish don't accept the amount of disturbance we've made and decide to pull away, I've got somewhere to move to tomorrow to give me that opportunity just to flick a couple of rigs out without all of this disturbance that we've had to make so far. So we'll see. We've got an evening ahead of us, gonna have a bit of food, watch what happens. I'll probably get back up the tree again. But you know, on these type of days, you know, red hot, there's always a chance of an evening bite. But if I had to put money on it, I would say that first couple of hours of daylight is when we're going to be in with our best chance of a bite tomorrow morning. So yeah, going to kick back, soak in the atmosphere of the lake, have a bit of food, maybe a beer, and just enjoy the evening. Well, good morning. Well, that was an eventful night. So just after midnight, the right-hand rod, the waded out rod, that's ripped off. We've got a sort of 20-pound mirror through the weed. Obviously, due to the conditions, the fact that this is probably going to be the hottest day of the year so far, we're hitting temperatures approaching 40 degrees. There's no way I'm going to keep these fish for any length of time in the net, let alone in a retainer. So we just slipped him back, and yeah, half an hour later the left hand rod's ripped, the one that I've cast out onto the bar on the long hinge. Pretty much a repeat of the first bite. Nice battle in the weed, got him in the net. Again, another really old, crusty, leathery 20-pounder, male mirror. So again, I've just let him go. It's the respectful thing to do. I didn't really want to get him out even for a quick picture. You know, I revere these carp. It's all about giving them the ultimate respect and looking after them in these conditions. So this morning, seen a few about, they're still here. I flicked the left-hand rod back out onto that bar. It's a castable job, so gave it a couple of pouches of boilies, and I've just been sitting here thinking about this middle rod. Why did that one not go? And I've just got that feeling, that gut feeling, that that rig's been compromised at some point. You know, it's super shallow, the lake, there's a lot of bird life, a hell of a lot of weed drifting about, and I just think that that rig might be either sitting wrong or it's been pulled into the weeds. Something's wrong. So I've sort of made the decision, having one rod out of the game already, that I'm going to reel that one in. I'm going to rebait both of those waded rods, and I'm going to put them back out now. It's a bit of a risk, but I feel with the amount of weed present, I can walk down this bar, drop those rigs back in, get them fishing perfectly without pushing the carp too far away. So yeah, it's a little bit of a risk, but I'm prepared to take that because I've had 2 bites already. And if the fish do the off, I'll just wrap up and get on my toes and go and find them anyway. So I'm going to get on with that job now, get these rods back and rocking, and see if we can't nick a bite this morning in daylight so you guys can see everything that goes on. So I'm going to get on with that now. After a couple of bites last night in the early hours, fish of which we decided not to keep, we just slipped them back. It's just way, way too hot. Talking of which, we have just hit record-breaking temperatures in the UK today. It is blistering, melting. It's eye-meltingly hot and super humid. Yeah, I don't know where I've been today. It's just been ridiculous. But I redid those rods this morning regardless, and just sat back in the shade watching the water. And yeah, we've had some fish backwards and forwards. There's been a bit of fish movement. They've been mainly concentrated in that oxygen saturated weedy zone in front of the swim. Not really looking like they're up for any food, which bodes well for tonight, but it didn't bode well for today, and we've just sat there watching motionless bobbins for most of the day. Backs, fins, the odd tail out the water, right in the thick of the weed. Like you would expect, really, to be perfectly honest. So, yeah, not a great deal to report. We're surviving rather than angling. But I'm going to reset the rods for tonight, pretty much repeat the process. I weighed those two rods out, just lower them into those little holes, and I'll flick that rod out to the left, put the boilies out last thing at night, because I have had a lot of bird activity. To be fair, over all three rods, super shallow lake, gin clear, it's going to be a problem, so you just have to get over it. It's looking like it's probably going to be about these night bites, so I think tonight, if I get one in the dark hours, we'll just light the swim up, show you the fish, give you a bit of content. I didn't want to do that last night because, as I say, it's an intimate little pond. I didn't want to ruin my chances for a big one. Yeah, if it's looking like it's only going to be night bites, then that's what we'll do, but that remains to be seen. So this is the SBX range from Thinking Anglers. This is our sinking braided mainline. Got two products in the range. Have it in the 40-pound breaking strain, and we've got it also in the 25-pound version. We do two different size spools, a 600 metre and a 300 metre in both breaking strains. Now they're two sort of different products in terms of diameter. The 40-pound, which is the braid of choice I use for my fishing, is great for casting up to around 80 odd yards from under the rod tip to that sort of distance. It is the super robust, you know, the big rhino of the range really, for fishing, you know, in the most challenging of environments, heavy weed, heavy snag fishing, lilies, that type of thing, and also obviously it can be boated out at range. But the general all-rounder is the 25. Thinner in diameter, more of an all-rounder. You can cast it over 100 yards. For those guys that fish a large variety of lakes and want to keep it on their spools for the bulk of their fishing, I suggest this is the one to go for. As I say, it's just as happy under the rod tip, sinks really, really well, but you can cast it that much further and it behaves impeccably in the crosswinds and whatnot. Both of them, again, carrying that really robust dye. Doesn't fade, keeps its colour really well, and yeah, realistically, these are the two products. Pick either one or the other to suit your fishing, and go from there. Further on down the line, and hopefully by the time you guys are watching this, we're going to have a general all-round braid to be released. It's called DBX. It's a very thin casting braid that we're sort of marketing along the lines of a generalised spot and marker braid, but for those guys that want to fish at real range, it's going to cover that option too, so that will be DBX. Good morning. What a great end to this trip. We have fished through the most adverse conditions I've probably ever carp fished in. Record-breaking June temperatures for the UK. It's been blisteringly hot. 2 bites on the first night around midnight. Slipped them both back because of the conditions, but finally on the last morning at dawn we've had one of the ones we came here for, a mega crusty old Tippins Lane mirror. I'm chuffed to bits. It was on one of the rods that I waded out last night, and yeah, just so pleased with this capture. You know, we've really worked for this, we've earned it. You know, sat there in the heat and the dust, sweating through the day, watching the carp bobbing about in the weed. But yeah, last night, I'm not gonna lie, I got a lot of liners, and I believe my middle rod was probably compromised. Tip slammed down to the water's edge and whatnot, and you know, in hindsight, using this braid in these conditions, I probably should have bought much heavier leads, probably fished 8-ounce leads to hold the bottom. You know, we're fishing very shallow, weedy water here, and but the right-hand rod has got much better line lay to the spot, and the right-hand rod paid dividends this morning. And yeah, I'm really happy to show you this crusty old mirror. We're going to get this one out quickly, do a couple of shots, and get him back in the water nice and quick because it's very warm. So let's go.
I love fade to black. I wish there was a way to replay time back. Trust I used to have.
Wow, absolutely chuffed to bits with this. Look at his back. Almost like he's got barnacles on him. Crusty old head, mega mouth on him. Big old head, fully spawned out. Colours like the old days. Look at that, old school carp from an old school lake. Feel like I'm back in the 90s. So good. Just what we came here for. These old dinosaurs are relics of a past era.